Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a GeekVerse review. My name is Travis Snell, and tonight, whenever you're listening to this, I am reviewing Free Guy, Ryan Reynolds' newest movie. A movie, honestly, I don't think I was planning on seeing probably in the non-COVID era. I was like, okay, this looks fun enough. I get the gimmick. I do really, really like Ryan Reynolds. Maybe I'll see it. Maybe I'll get around to it. But I feel like whatever the original release date was, I was like, I'll see it at some point. But there's been a lack of movies the past few months, and maybe there'll be a lack of movies in the future as Clifford's been delayed and Venom's been delayed. And as I said on Geek vs. News a few weeks ago, I do not think that will be the start. So as always, how this works is I'm going to give my non-spoiler thoughts, and then I'm going to give you my spoiler thoughts, and then a score at the end. Nothing too big deep dive as far as spoilers goes. It's I'll save it. I'll save my thoughts until I get to the actual review portion. As always, if you really like what we do, whether it's myself, and a big thank you to everybody that has listened or supported these past few days, because I'm coming on 2 weeks here of doing the solo, and the first 10 days was our biggest 10 days ever at Geekverse. So a big, I know I can be a handful, I can be a headache sometimes, but a big thank you, because wasn't sure how I was going to go, but you guys have supported the show, the network, but also just myself. So really appreciate that. But you could get every episode, including this one, ad-free and early if you head over to our Patreon and join the Phase 2 tier. There's a bunch of other tiers with a bunch of other tiers, bunch of other tiers with a bunch of other tiers, bunch of other tiers with a bunch of other benefits. You get exclusive episodes. You get access to our call-in show where you can call in and join the madness when we do our monthly After 9 casts. And head over to Patreon. And as you see, there's lots of content. The more support we get there, the more content you guys get. It's that simple. So head over there, read all about it. If you really like what we do, we would appreciate that. But if you can't afford to spend the hard-earned cash, we completely understand. It's a strange world we live in right now. So you can head over to YouTube and subscribe there and hit that bell for notifications. But most importantly, head over to your podcatcher of choice, subscribe. And if you use Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star written review. That really helps. That gets us up the charts. So people that have never heard of GeekVerse, they see that nice green logo. They go, what is that? And they might click on it. And that's all because of those reviews. So a big thank you if you do that. And if you haven't, we would appreciate it. I'm trying to think. Check out our podcast network, 6 days a week, 8 shows. Geek all the lines. Check out our 4 feeds. We have the Geek First main feed, this one, review feed, news feed, retrospective feeds. Those are feeds that are all kind of our spin-off shows, and they have all the episodes there for releasing currently or in the past. Trying to think, I may do a Don't Breathe 2 review. I was supposed to see it tonight, but my theater, I have 2 theaters, and the one that it's carrying it is not open Thursdays for the Thursday pre. So that's kind of a bummer. So Fridays can be a little hectic sometimes. It's the weekend, so if I don't get to it now, it might be like Green Knight, or maybe it'll be a little bit later, because I feel like I have to see it. I feel like there's just some movies our audience expects us to see, like Cruella was one of those, and then this one, just because the ones that I like rag on and say, well, this was a bad idea. And judging from the reviews and reactions I've seen, it was a bad idea making a rapist a hero. But you know what? I'd like to see it for myself. So what I did see though is this movie. As last plug, go back, I'm reviewing Marvel What If. There's a bunch of reviews for other movies, Green Knight, Suicide Squad, Black Widow, all the Fear Street trilogy. So just head over to probably the Geek First review feed, and it's all there. So as I was mentioning earlier, I did see Free Guy. Went back and forth as far as I'm going to see, but again, haven't seen that many movies as the past few years. As far as past few months, it feels like years now because of COVID. So theaters back open. Ours are back to restrictions now because everywhere around the world is just having, Delta variant that's going up. So yay, can't wait for another Halloween and Christmas of just shit shows, right? But people are dumb. Get vaccinated. So Free Guy, like I said, saw it. I honestly really enjoyed it. Now, I was talking about this in our Discord. Check out our GV Discord if you want it. Just head over there. It's in the description down below. If the link is expired, hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, the message boards here, chat, anything like that, and we'll give you the link. I have said before that I'm a big fan of Ryan Reynolds, like many out there. Ryan Reynolds to me is like melted cheese, where for the most part he makes everything better, except Detective Pikachu, because that was a fucking mess. Check out our review. Maybe I should release a retro review that soon. But anyways, so either way, I liked the concept right from the very first show. It's like, okay, this is cool. Obviously I play video games, stuff like that. I love that world, and I love that they're kind of hitting those Grand Theft Auto sort of vibes. So it's a fun concept. Lots and lots of trailers, but that's probably because of how many delays we've gone, right? So not really their fault. I don't blame them. But there was a point where it's like, okay, do I need to see this review? And luckily there was another trailer that did come out that people said spoiled the whole movie. I didn't see that one, luckily, so I'm good there. But I was so like shocked how much I liked this movie. I'd have to look at my list. I think it might be my top 10 for the year. I don't know if it'll stay there because I think it'd be the lower half, but still, the fact that it's even in consideration says a lot. So you get everything that you've seen from the trailers: action hijinks, video game hijinks, Ryan Reynolds hijinks everywhere. And I think that if you are looking to have a good time, if you like Ryan Reynolds who makes you laugh, this movie does that. But I think the biggest thing that I found that I really enjoyed that would make me rewatch it again is how much heart it actually had. I was surprised, and I kind of figured there'd be a little bit. There's like a little love story you can see from the trailers, but there's a lot more there. And I'm not going to say specifically, I'll wait to spoilers, but there's multiple themes, and they're not earth-shattering themes. But from majority of the trailers, to me, it just looked like, okay, there might be like a little heart in there, but it's mostly going to be action. It's going to be Ryan Reynolds cracking his jokes. It's going to be doing some really clever stuff with the video game stuff. And even if it was just that, the concept and the movie itself is clever. You can tell whether it is Sean Levy, who, shout out Stranger Things, Night at the Museum. There you go, Hansi. There's a shout for you. Sean Levy, writers, whoever, executive producers, whoever had their pulse on this script or the story, or whoever was in charge of like, hey, we got to make it feel like this. They did such a good job. Every little joke, like if you are here's the thing, if you're not a big gamer, I think you would really enjoy this movie. If you're just even a gamer in any sense, or like I said, I've played Grand Theft Auto or some other kind of online, MMO games, I think you're gonna have a ball with this. Even if you don't love it, I think it's at least enjoyable. And do you have to see it in theaters? No, but I think what is it, the 45-day window they have for this? If it hits Disney Plus, I would definitely recommend checking it out, especially if you're a gaming guy. Now, and there's probably people that are more like a Dylan, more gaming guys than me that probably enjoy it even more so. Because there's at one point, minor spoilers, they're like showing a bunch of like Twitch streamers and whatnot. I don't know any of these people other than Ninja, who like says like, how come field goal kickers can't get the field goal every time? They're kicking the same type of ball. Oh boy, yeah. A very smart guy. But you know what? He's found a way to franchise himself, make a lot of money. So he is smart in some aspects. He just doesn't understand anything to do with the ball. So that's kind of funny. But other than him, didn't know any of these people. So I think if you like video games to a little bit, you'll love it. But if you love video games or you're deep in that kind of community, man, lots of Easter eggs for that. Lots of Easter eggs and just clever jokes using gaming terminology, gaming setups. It reminds me of Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet, but on steroids. I can't remember what is that world they go into. It's like Crusher World or whatever it is. With Vanellope, she goes. If you haven't seen this movie, she goes into this world with Gal Gadot, and it's pretty much like a Twisted Metal. Like it's a racing car world, but it's just like guns and skulls. Like it's more like R-rated, right? And there's tons of kind of fun in-game jokes or in-world jokes as far as like you being in a gaming universe. And this has that, like I said, on steroids to the nth degree. They're always making something funny. Free Guy or Guy is always kind of being used for some example to get a joke across that is clever. And that's a good thing because we have Wreck-It Ralph, and I feel like there's a few others, but this type of world has not been done too much. It's not been done to death. There was a movie a few years ago, I guess more than a few years ago, 10 years ago, that I thought was going to be. It was called Gamer. It was Gerard Butler, Terry Crews, and Michael C. Hall. And I feel like lots of movies, even Wreck-It Ralph to extent, have a few good segments, but then they kind of move along. Wreck-It Ralph has to do more about the internet. There's a long, I don't know, 10, if you were to get all that, screen time of Murder World or whatever the fuck it's called, is it 15, 20 minutes, maybe the most, maybe a little bit more. Somebody let me know, but that's not the main movie, right? So much like some people fear about Ryan Reynolds, I thought, okay, is this joke gonna get tiresome? And that's the benefit they had of either getting very knowledgeable writers, or if Sean Levy himself is a big gamer, they constantly were doing different type of jokes, as I said before, different type of setups, different type of homages to tons of stuff in this type of online multiplayer world of video game playing. So that's the thing that I think really sets it up is, yeah, on surface you could just use the, okay, you're in a world, this is fun, like you're in a gaming world, this is fun now. what happens, because that gives you lots of freeway to, big action, big car crashes, big kind of set pieces that don't have to make sense, because like, well, it's a video game, they can just make it up. So they did a very good job. It didn't feel like a gimmick, and that's what I was always worried about. But worried about in the sense of, I thought I was always going to enjoy this movie, but was it just going to be a junk food movie, a movie that you consume once and you move along? This year, Godzilla vs Kong, I don't like that movie. I enjoyed it too a little bit as far as seeing the fight, but I'll probably never watch that again. But that's where, as I was referring to earlier, the heart in here for multiple characters, multiple themes, really well done. And especially the back half, it's way more kind of drama. Like, don't worry, nothing like Oscar Cow, nothing like No Man's Land. Like, don't worry, it's just more kind of character driven drama, and just thinking about existential crises and whatnot, and just a good kind of appreciation of life sort of movie. There's tons of cameos in here. I won't say in those, I'll wait till spoilers, but tons of cameos in here from people and from IP. That's what I'll say. Not to the Wreck-It Ralph Space Jam 2 level, but there's definitely some really fun moments in here. Ryan Reynolds was Ryan Reynolds. If you like Ryan Reynolds, he does his bit. There's only been a few times I've seen his career where he's been vastly different, and that's not a bad thing. He has a shtick. Robert Downey does the same thing. Like, people go, "Oh yeah, that's because it's so close to Iron Man," but it's like, in majority of his movies from his comeback, he's usually Tony Stark. Even if he's in Due Date, if he's in Sherlock to an extent, maybe that's just him with a British accent, Tony with a British accent, but Ryan Reynolds, if you like him, you like him. There's Joe Carey. He is the Stranger Things kid. He's I can't remember what his name is. It's been so long, but he plays like Nancy's ex-boyfriend, who at first looks like he's gonna be a douche, but he's not. So he's in there. He's good. He's fun. I think he's a very like serviceable actor, but I've never seen anything from him yet that I've really loved. But the good thing is, I think he's picking right roles for his type of acting, kind of personality and whatnot. Jodie Comer. So she is somebody, I think I'm saying that right. She's somebody that, okay, I guess I have seen one. She's Ray's mom. But other than that, I've all heard about Killing Eve, and that show I think is coming to an end. So I love Sandra Oh. Didn't know about her, but when this show ends, I think me and my lady will probably watch it, just kind of binge it. That's kind of the way I am. If I'm 2 to 3 seasons on a show and I've gone past it, it's like, well, we'll just binge it and catch up at some point. But first thing I've really seen her in, and she's very talented. I'm looking very, very forward to see The Last Duel, because that trailer was up in front, and yeah, that's obviously a bit more dramatic, but she is good. She's not just I wouldn't expect this because I've heard so much praise from her, but it's not just like, oh, we're just gonna get a hot chick, hot video game chick, and she's the lead. She carries the scenes well. Her and Ryan Reynolds have very, very good chemistry, and I think that's like, yeah, them, but you can just tell lots of times where it's like, oh, Jodie Comer is such a good actress that she probably had good chemistry with anybody. So she's really good. I'm trying to think. Taika, much like his work and movies, you would watch this movie and you're either going to love what he's doing or you're going to be particularly annoyed. I've heard both ways. I liked it. I think he was chewing the scenery. He's playing, I would say, like an SNL type character. Now, if you listen to my reviews in the past, you might think I don't like that. No, I just don't like when Jared Leto's Joker is, hey, this is the SNL version of the Joker. This is it feels like it's cognizant of what it's doing, and it's Taika being Taika. If you like Thor Ragnarok, if you like him outside, whether it's on Twitter and interviews, this is him, but like turned up to 1,000. Like, he's very arrogant. Like, he's like, I would say, it's not a big spoiler, he is like the one of, if not the main antagonist. He is the video game programmer who is a little shady, and they introduce that like right away. So I'm not spoiling anything, and trailers have kind of pointed that out. I kind of feel from the ones I saw. So he got paid to get there and just use all his energy to quip and be loud and be animated. And there's times where he's just standing around right now, but I like what he's doing now. I would feel that like every joke, not every single one hits, doesn't have a 100% rate of, oh, that made me laugh, but they're throwing so many at you with throughout the movie, but definitely with Taika, you go, okay, that one didn't work, but then the next one will. So if you didn't like Taika, I completely understand. As always, when I'm on my solo reviews here, I'll say that I'm gonna have the water. I don't know. I feel like it's mixed. Some people like when I say the water break. Some people don't. Some people go, "Oh yeah, you drink the water. It's fine." And then one time I got, "You're so unprofessional, drinking so much water during a cast." It was like so hot and like, but I need water. It helps the throat. I'm trying to think of anything else non-spoilers. Good surprises. Score is like fine. It's just kind of there. Yeah, I think the best way to say before I take the spoilers break, and then we'll talk a little spoilers, and I'll give you a score, is if you're looking for a good time, the theaters open, if you're looking for a good time, especially if you go with friends. I saw this alone, but I think if you went with friends, hopefully a bigger theater or more packed theater, you'd have a good time with it. And if you like kind of the video games, if you like something like cats, if you really like Ryan Reynolds, you'll have a good time with it. I think it's at least like, I don't know if there's anybody, there's certain things like a Taika you could watch, but I don't like that. But I don't know, like maybe somebody that's like, I don't know, 60s, 70s, never played anything to do with video games. They don't care about them, and it's not really what they're into, and that's fine. Like I've said this recently where I think they announced some movie, the Emily Blunt's starring movie that The Rock is producing. It's kind of like based off the first Sherlock Holmes or something. It's pretty much just like Sherlock Holmes that's a female one, right? You got Nola Holmes going on, you got Robert Downey's, but that's just the thing that like I'm just not into Sherlock. I've seen enough. That's fine. And the same thing like this. If you watch the trailers, and I will say the movie is better than the trailers presented, but if you watch the trailers and you have zero interest, just wait for the 45 days. Wait for the 45 days. But I think it is worth a watch. I think you'll bare minimum have an enjoyable time. So, and that's kind of like all you want, right? Like from this movie, that's what I was wanting. And I was expecting an enjoyable time, and I got a little bit more than that. So I think that is the best recommendation I can give. So I'm getting against spoilers. Nothing, like I said, hugely deep happens as far as like a big plot twist, but there is some fun things to talk about. There's some characters to talk about that I don't want to mention in here. And yeah, and the score, which I don't know where I am on. So I'm gonna take our first ad break, probably our only ad break on this episode, take a water break, and then we will be right back. All right, so spoilers. So as far as the heart, what I'll talk about is this is something that, and it's not the most. I'll say this: there's lots of in this movie predictable. Obviously, they showed a lot of trailers. Apparently, there's that one trailer they showed even more so. So I don't even know about that, but like you kind of know the beats of this. But what you're there is for the in-game jokes, like I said about gaming universe and culture and stuff like that. Ryan Reynolds and his supporting cast, and then like I said, is the heart. And what I really like is this idea. There's kind of three things I like as far as how the heart goes. The one that's most predictable is Joe Carey. He like so Ryan Reynolds guy meets Millie. He meets her, that's Jodie Comer's character. He falls in love, and then that starts to kind of break him out of his path of he sees her, love at first sight, and we get to see his life where he wakes up, puts on the same shirt, says hi to Goldie. He's a bank like teller, and then they get robbed, and then he does the same thing over and over and over. And there's like some fun like banter and kind of like nudges towards our life, like, oh well, what do you mean that's a boring life? Like we wake up, we do this, like what could you ask for? Pretty much just saying like, yeah, it's sometimes you look at the life and you go, man, I just need a break. I need a couple weeks off for something, and that's why I get that 3-day weekend going. I think we need it. But anyway, so he meets her later on in the movie. It is revealed that once he met her, it's kind of like, and that we'll get into some of this coding stuff too, but his coding like expands and he becomes like a living artificial intelligence sort of person just in the game world, but still. And then with Jodie Comer, as she and him start to meet up, and like I said, they have good chemistry. They go on like this ice cream date and they take the swimmings. Really, really good job from both of them. They both brought it. But to me, it felt pretty obvious, but it's fine because I like the way they did it. That Joe Keery, and for people that are just listening along, like I said, this is spoilers now. Joe Keery and Jodie Comer, they created this game. It was going to be this game where it's kind of like it's a world where these computers, I guess you could go into, but also these well, maybe I'm not sure because they sometimes insinuate that you're just going to watch these characters, so maybe that's it. But either way, the main characters, the non-playable characters, they would program them so well that eventually by themselves they would adapt and evolve and change instead of them having to program that. So they have this idea that it gets bought by a big developer who's going to make the game. He just shelves it, doesn't do it, and then he makes this new game, Free City. But what the big bad guy twist is that he stole most of their code and put it in this game. So it's like he took their game, kind of molded it into his own thing, and claimed like, oh, this is free, this is Free Guy, I created this and everything like that. And that's the whole crux of the movie is Jodie Comer's character Millie is trying to sue Taika Waititi. So She needs information though to prove that this is based off her original build. Because if it's just Taika created, it's fine. But if they took this game, they bought the small game pretty much just to, go behind people's back and use it, that's illegal. Because in this movie, at least, they didn't sign any of that away. But it's her and Joe Keery. Joe Keery kind of got like somehow uh, paired up with Taika, associated with Taika, because up until about like the end of the second act, he's pretty still like with Taika. He understands it's a game, he's there to make money and stuff like that. So either way, he got him somehow. And the idea is they have to, like I said, expose, they got to find this information. Guys can help with that information. But as you learn that those two connections, Comers and Curies, that it just all makes sense as far as right away when we start learning about that. I go, okay, the reason Ryan Reynolds loves her is because he programmed, him to love something like Millie, like Curie would be in real life. I guess I should find his real name in the TV show or in the movie, but I digress. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Stranger Things kid, but or guy now. But so that was like predictable, but it was a nice touch because early in the movie they start to set up stuff where like every character orders a coffee. It's like a black and 2 sugars or something like that, or medium 2 sugars. So like every character will go up, order that, order that, order that. One part that is fun, it's kind of got like a Get Out sort of reaction. It's not that scary, but Ryan Reynolds decides to order something else. He wants a cappuccino, and she's like, "What? No, you got to take the medium with 2 sugars." And she's starting to like freak out. The entire restaurant turns and just stares at him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just kidding. Just keep me on your toes. I'll take the whatever it is." So there's that. There's like Mariah Carey. He keeps hearing a Mariah Carey song. I don't know which one it is. That was a song that she would hum all the time, and the coffee was based off the one she would always order and stuff like that. So that was fun. They use more examples of that throughout the movie. Like I said, that was known, but when you look back at it, you see other things pertaining to her or pertaining to Guy about like, oh, in this world, this is the way it is. It's because Joe Keery's character really loved, like whatever, thought that she was the dream girl of his life. And that's why I like that they do this whole thing where she's falling for Ryan Reynolds. Of course, he's an IP. There's a great moment where they do kiss, and in this game you can't kiss. So she's just shocked. She's like, "How do you do that? There's no button for that." And she goes, "He found the button." So this fun little double entendre there. But it's fun to see that she's falling in love with him. This guy who also in the movie gets his world shattered because first of all, he's just like doing everything the same day. And then he breaks out of that path. He gets the glasses that are pretty much like a video game. Show your money, your level, all these things around the world, landmarks, way markers, stuff like that. So that's shattered. But then later on in the movie, he's told like this world is like that because it's fake. It's a game. Takes it pretty hard. He starts like lashing on the other NPCs. But throughout this whole time, like I said, they're going on dates, they're bonding, stuff like that. She thinks he's a real player, and then he just thinks she's a part of the world, I guess, because there's a great moment. She's like, "Oh, see you in the real world," and she disappeared, or I hope to see in the real world disappears, and he just kind of like this is the real world. So anyways, like I said, the Mariah Carey song, all this stuff. So they're kind of falling in love, but when they save the day and everything like that, they go back into the game. They keep the game open, and it's like run under the nice people now. I don't know why I'm doing quotations. They're both very nice, but either way, they're run by the heroes, and she comes back to the world, and he just says like, "Oh, like you've created a world, but that doesn't mean you can live in it." And it's good because his world's shaken multiple times, but he as a character and how he's evolving has come to the conclusion like, "Oh, she needs to go live a life out there. This isn't a life for her. This is where I'm born, where I'm from. I can't leave here, but she can leave here." And then she watches some like in the middle of the movie, Joe Keery sends her like a log, and it's like explaining the code and stuff like that. And he does a little bit start to talk about how proud he is of her, how much he like does really like her or maybe love her. But she like cuts that off, and then at the end of the movie, she just like brings it back up. But I do love that. There's a great line Ryan Reynolds said when he's kind of doing the like breakup and everything. They come to this mutual understanding. They're both a little teary eyed, and he says like, "Oh, like someone made me, out there. Someone made me to love you. I'm the love letter. You just got to go find the artist." And after that, she takes off her headphones, is in the world, and that's when she realized Joe Keery. They put through the Saw montage, put it all together. She, like I said, it felt a little convoluted. She watched this video from weeks ago. It's like you didn't watch this again at all. It might have science information, but nope. I digress. That that didn't happen. So, but she realizes, okay, it's him, loves him, and like I said, so the love story right there didn't feel forced. I love that she is kind of falling for this good-looking guy, but realize like, oh, it's kind of the heart within, and it's the Joe Carey character who created all that. So that's good. The other moment that I think really played is this whole NPC. They emphasize violence on NPC, and because what happens is she needs help, but she's kind of annoyed by Free Guy because she doesn't really know his whole story yet, right? She just thinks he's like another player just kind of harassing her. And she says, like, you can come back here when you're like level 100. And that's the movie is. And the thing is, like, he can't get levels because he's not doing missions. So she said, like, a good way to get XP quickly is to steal people's guns. So again, we get like a little bit of the world. There's some things where like in my video game brain, I'm like, how could you be getting, points or XP from this little thing? But it kind of kept the, you know, legend alive out of it and everything like that. So he he's in this world. Like I said, he realized he's IP, and then he's doing these good deeds. And like I said, this legend is growing of blue shirt guy and growing. It's like, what gamer is doing this? Why in this game that's just made for like killing and mayhem? Who's doing good deeds? He's helping people cross the street. He's helping one find his kid and stuff like that. And that's the whole thing, that he just wants to be a good guy. That's the thing where and that shows he's like very much like Ralph too. He's like Swiffering the nation. That's where they get a bunch of these Twitch streamers in here. But um it is very, and people have said this before, so I'm not saying anything new, but it is very like Truman Show-esque in the way where, so this guy's a video game character. What does he get to do? And what do these IPs get to do? Are they real? And he has this good conversation after he's told that the world's fake with his best friend. I can't remember. It's the same guy from, I think, from Get Out, who's like the comedic relief friend. But he's just saying, like, it doesn't matter if we're not real, because this moment that we're sharing is real, right? Like, I consider you my real best friend. I consider what I'm telling you real, and we're sitting here right now is real. So what does it matter? And it's fun though, because in the outside world, yeah, they have these people, like, which would never happen, be like, have I treated NPCs so wrong? Like, should I be not hurting them? Okay, that's going on. It's kind of funny, but nothing too similar to this. He just does realize of, oh, well, I can make my own world after saving it, of course, but he also starts to inspire other NPCs. If you don't know what that is this far in, non-playable characters, he starts telling them their stories. And because they have this kind of, and that's what I liked too, because at first when he was evolving and they hinted at other evolves, like, okay, well, how would you do this? Because it's just code, it's in there, but their code is meant to like have a door open and evolve. So you get to see the town people evolve, and that's the heart too, where he's talking about not just being like just a like he just wants to be a regular person, but not like he's talking about like there's some good stuff where he goes like, oh, where Millie, when's the last time you saw a dead body in your world? And she's like, never. And he lists a few things, and he's like, and what's gun control like in your world? And then she goes, well, actually, it's pretty bad. It's really bad. It's really unfortunate. Like, oh, okay. And they move along. But there's this great, like, kind of moment of them all teaming up together to help, because the game is going to be shut down because they can't find a way to ban Millie. They can't find a way to really shut down Free Guy. So that keeps happening. So it's fun. I think, again, that's where the heart comes in. They talk, it's kind of like the Toy Story 4 that they didn't dive too much deep into, but Toy Story 4, when like a toy's made, it's like, how did this get life? How does this a thing? This thing has this a little bit the non-playable characters, and they start talking about little things. Like, there's one character who's pretty much just programmed to date like shitty guys or something, and Free Guy says something to her about like, oh, you can't be with the shit guys, it's a bad thing. And she goes like, yeah, maybe I'm done with guys. He's like, yeah, that's a great choice too, and stuff like that. But then she goes home and like writes in a journal, and the developer is like, it's nothing crazy like in the journal, but it's just like they didn't do that before. And they show this one part where guy, as he was in this video log, Joe Carey was explaining, he shows his mind that's on a track of everything he does every day, and it's the exact same. But when he met Millie, that just opened it all up. So you have heart in the relationship, you have heart in this, like, we got to save this town of nobodies, like, we can't just give up, we can make our own life, our own city, and stuff like that. So that's really fun. I'm trying to think of anything else. Cameos. They had this one I caught right away. Hugh Jackman's in this, but a lot of these are just voice. Dwayne Johnson, Tina Fey. Those are the ones I caught. I looked after and I saw that John Krasinski was in here. I missed that, but Hugh Jackman and Dwayne I caught right away. They have Chris Evans, who I fucking had to ban a Twitter account. I don't understand Twitter sometimes. Like, I don't follow this person at all, and it was just like one of these things where people will know if you have Twitter, it'll be like introduce a topic, and so you're not following the people that tweeted the topic, it's just like something that's trending. So it was like Chris Evans was the topic, then right below it's like, oh, free guy cameo. I was like, oh, that would have been better to see that live, but that's fine. Channing Tatum is in here, and you talk about Taika chewing the scenery. Man, he's going for it. He's having a good time. He's dancing, and that's a fun little twist as far as the video game is like a classic, like mom basement dweller who's kind of a loser, and they have this good interaction of trying to like say my catchphrase, like kill me on camera, stuff like that, because he's streaming it. Most of them are streamers, so that was that was fun. The other fun moment was at the end. This was definitely after the Fox stuff. They introduced this character dude who is just like a jacked up version of Guy. They have a fight, but there's this moment where the glasses kind of give you the world powers and everything like that. He gets the glasses back on. Dude goes to punch. Uh, Free Guy selects his wheel of weapons, wherever it may be, and selects a shield. And then when Free Guy or when dude punches it, it looks exactly like in Winter Soldier when Captain America has a shield, and then Winter Soldier punches it. It's it's like identical to that moment, and then the Avengers theme hits. He turns in. There's this mode where Guy turns his hand into like the green Hulk thing. It's all big, and then later on, they have a moment where they're playing the Star Wars theme, and the lightsaber hits. And man, that's great to sound here in theaters. Because last time I did that was Rise of Skywalker. Man, not great, but it's so fantastic. It was really fun. Like I said, definitely after Disney, definitely some reshoots, but it's paced really well, and it feels like very fun and epic. And I just like, man, this is awesome. It feels like mixing toys together. So yeah, I don't think there's anything really like the rest of the stuff is all just minor plot stuff. It's stuff that I would still go recommend you watch for yourself and come back. But yeah, the story overall is kind of where it's gonna go probably. Maybe I'll give it say more like 15 minutes in, 15, 20, but it's serviceable and it's more about the world and the characters around it and the moments that happen in just the world overall. So I would give this one a 7.5. So the reason I'm doing that is because, as you know, 7 is the barometer for me. Is like that's a movie I'm going to watch again quite often. Might be a guilty pleasure, might not like it, like I really enjoy it, but the 7th is a time where I was like, okay, enjoy this guilty, not like I said, it's not even guilty pleasure, just a movie that I know I'm gonna be watching again. And 8 is too high for me for this movie because 8 is getting that great territory. This is a 7.5. It's right in the middle there. And I know it might sound lower from I have no cons. I guess it's just like, yeah, the cons are some jokes don't hit. It is predictable, kind of regular stuff there, so it's just like things that bring it down. Is it, like I said, the greatest story? No, there's some heart moments in there, but they're also not like home runs, but it just made me really enjoy it. So a 7.5 for me. Did really enjoy this. I had a good time with it. So other than I didn't get popcorn, people around me were eating popcorn. This was a big mistake. But yeah, I had a good time with it. I will definitely watch this again. My fiance did not see it. So when that 45-day window is done, I'll definitely be putting it on again. So, and I think that is like I said, the biggest recommendation I can give. So if you saw this, let me know on Twitter, Facebook, Discord, wherever, YouTube, you can get a hold of us. Let me know. And yeah, we will be back next week, or I'll be back next week. So again, a big thank you for listening to this review. And I promise when you hear from us next, not be boring.